will get the most from any Systems to Win video when you launch it from its video homepage.
In this training video, we're going to personally walk you through the training found on this page, a roadmap for lean transformation. And the first thing that we'll do is scroll down below this table of contents to this section where it explains what is a lean transformation. And here we see that the end goal of any lean journey is for every member of each value stream team to be able to see the flow of value to the customer and fix that flow before it breaks down. And that leads us to the primary difference between a lean journey and any other type of continuous improvement journey. With a lean journey, your primary focus is flow. If we scroll down to the very next section, we explain that after doing a gap analysis, your leadership might decide that a lean transformation isn't the right thing to do right now. Maybe you got some quality fires that really need to be put out, or maybe you've got some folks who aren't yet competent at their fundamental job and you need to train some folks, or you want to start with a more narrowly defined scope project. All those are valid options, and your Systems to Win templates can be extremely helpful for many of these smaller scale projects. In fact, I'm going to say that over 50% of Systems to Win customers are not on a lean journey. On a lean journey, your goal is flow. So why is flow so important? The truth is that if every leader on your executive team is not able to instantaneously and convincingly answer that question, then you're not ready to begin a lean journey. Until you get a big enough why, no one's going to care how. And the entire rest of this video is about how. So if you personally are not able to instantaneously and convincingly answer the question for why lean flow is so important, then this might be a good time to stop this video and go study that page instead. And if and when you decide that it is important, come on back. Now, the second big difference between a lean journey and a continuous improvement journey is that a lean journey has an end. Now, it's worth repeating what we reviewed before, and that is that your end goal is that every member of each value stream team, in other words, not just your value stream manager, not just your team leader, every single person who works on that value stream can visually see the flow. It's really obvious. It's not hidden in a computer. It's not in some report somewhere. It's really visually obvious as they walk by. And they not only see that flow, they are trained and empowered to fix that flow before, not after, it breaks. And there is an acid test to know when you're at the end. You invite a first-time visitor to visit your work area for the very first time. Ask her to stand in your clearly marked process observation point. And ideally, she doesn't need any other instructions, but you might have to spend 10 seconds to explain your red and green visual controls. And then you ask her, is this process flowing as expected? Her answer should be yes or no. No yellow, no ambiguity. Now, when every single workstation in your entire value stream is able to consistently and repeatedly over time pass that acid test, then your continuous improvement journey might continue on forever, but your lean journey has successfully completed. You have arrived. And then the final difference between a lean journey and a continuous improvement journey is that a lean journey has a clearly defined path. Unlike the literally hundreds of different types of continuous improvement journeys, a lean journey has a well-worn, teachable, repeatable path, and that path is clearly mapped on this training webpage. So now let's scroll up and let's take a look at that path. It starts with firefighting, endless reactions to endless crises. When you're ready to be done with that firefighting and your senior top leaders understand what is a lean transformation and they are ready to commit to making that lean transformation happen, then your first step is to prepare your leadership. And throughout this Lean Transformation training page, you'll find links to the related templates that might be relevant at each step of the way, and you will find links to pages of online training to guide you through what you need to do when you need to do it. One early thing that needs to be done is to figure out who's with you and who's against you. If you have some anchor draggers who are resistant and actively sabotaging your lean efforts, now's the time to identify them and ideally enlist them by either seeing the light or feeling the heat, or replace them with team members who will be supportive of where your senior management has committed to go. Similarly, if your head count is already too high, then now is the time to get your staffing level corrected before you begin anything associated with the word lean. Because one of the very first things you're going to do as a management team is publish and popularize a job security promise that makes it very clear to everyone that they will not lose their job by coming up with great ideas for how to improve processes. Another early step for your leadership team and steering committee is to define your value streams, because you're going to have one value stream team per value stream. So before you can form your very first value stream team, the question is, team for what? What are your value streams? Now, your Systems to Win templates and online training are an important component of your library of lean training materials, but they should not be your entire answer. You should start to develop your own library of lean training tools and materials. And as part of that effort, your leadership team should now define your company's document storage and naming conventions, so that your users can avoid broken hyperlinks as they begin to quickly populate the skeleton of your folder structure with interrelated documents for process improvement. Now, when it comes to this section on choosing your strategic objectives, it can be real tempting to follow this link to this excellent online training page that describes how to systematically establish a never-ending series of strategic challenges and then knock them down using PDCA. But don't skip this fundamental tip that if your value stream still has any segment that is not currently in a sustainable state of flow, as measured by that first-time visitor acid test, then there's nothing strategic to talk about. Your strategic objective is simple and non-negotiable. You need to bring that value stream up to a sustainable state of flow before you do anything else. Stay on the path. Don't reinvent. I love the quote by Paul Akers when he says that we don't need lean leaders near as much as we need lean doers. When your abs look as good as Paul's, maybe you can start reinventing your own systems. But until then, you might be better off staying on the proven path. The next step of lean transformation is to design each value stream to flow. And this is where the ball really hits the bat. It's where the responsibility shifts from your steering committee and leadership team to each value stream team for each value stream. So the first step is for your leaders to launch those teams. And then each team can follow the excellent online training for how to do value stream mapping, using your value stream mapping tools to not just draw pretty pictures, but to actually improve your value streams, systematically ensuring that your teams are asking and answering the right questions for value streams that have low volume, high mix, or value streams that have shared processes so that every 3 to 6 months your teams are implementing value stream plans that systematically ratchet your competitive advantages. And then the third phase is for sub-teams within each value stream team to analyze, stabilize, visualize, and standardize each process within the value stream, using your various tools and online training for process analysis, visual management, and standardized work. This is the shortest part of our training video, but your sub-teams will actually spend the most amount of time in this phase, getting it right for each process within the value stream and using the various tools and online training to handle the diverse types of processes that might be encountered along the way. It is at the end of phase 3 when you perform your acid test, where for each work area in the value stream you ask a first-time visitor, is this process flowing as expected? At the end of phase 3, your lean journey is technically complete. Your lean journey is a subset of your continuous improvement journey, and by then you will have established some terrific habits for continuous improvement. So keep it up. Your next step is to establish systems to self-heal the flow. So before it breaks, empower your people to fix it. So each time that stability is achieved, you're seeing too much green in your indicators. Things are going too smooth. You want to systematically stress your systems by lowering the water level of your buffer stocks and your safety measures so that you expose the next layer of rocks and alligators that you can now systematically remove, ending up with continuously improving, more robust, stable processes. So even though your lean journey has a clearly defined, measurable ending, continuous improvement really is continuous.